Time for the bonus round. Who's going to be the fourth team in NA to make it all of the way to LAN? It's been a long day here. We've seen these players play a lot of series. We got to see EU, we got to see NA, and now we get this bonus matchup. Jamili versus Colo. No love between these two players, but there's only room for one of them up on the big stage. And one of the big points that we brought up time and time again was, who do we think is better if you're just an NA fan? Which team would you rather see situated in the field of play that we know is going to be there? And I don't think we have a clear consensus on it. Ven, where do you sit on the issue?
So I feel like right now, Never Lucky overall compositionally is looking like a more well-rounded team than what we've seen M2KC really deliver. But that being said, with Rosita Jones added onto the roster and Jamili's ability to play multiple different casters, you can play the Moonkin, you can play the Shadow Priest, I think you can play the Elemental Shaman as well. So there's a lot of diversity there on that roster. It's just a matter if they can sort of harness and tap into that potential. I think in terms of who's going to perform better in a LAN environment, I'd have to go in favor of M2KC. Their track record just proves it. I mean, like we kind of mentioned last year during the spring finals, they were the runners-up. They did end up losing to Reform, but still a very impressive performance. And I think compositionally, the Paladin, the Assassination Rogue, and the Fire Mage, if it remains a good composition, is good on LAN, especially with the way they play it. It's a hyper-aggressive strategy, and they can overcome teams quite quickly if they are making little bits of mistakes. And all these things are definitely something to consider when moving into a LAN environment.
A track record definitely very important. I think the other thing with these two teams, though, is if you give them the month, these are two squads that I think can get better the fastest. I think that these are two of the teams that can improve even more if they are given more time. You have the side of Never Lucky that has been all about counter-comping, and 69% of you think that they can take it regardless of track record. And then we have the Mew Mew Kitty Cats, who are still starting to get their synergy going as a team. They just got Rosita Jones, which opens them up to so many more compositions. You give these teams a month, maybe they can just be up there at the same level as some of our top teams in North America. The gates are now open. This is going to be a best of 5. Same rules do apply. Blind pick on the Grand Arena to start it off.
First global cooldown, Jamili just popping his icy veins, wanting to get aggressive. I'm just not sure he's going to be able to get too much done. He did get a full sheep onto Colo, trying to get some damage rolling. And this is nice. M2KC finally bringing in a composition I think they can win with against this Demon Hunter Death Knight pesky business that they've been running into today over and over and over. Never Lucky. They've been taking a page from the Super Frogs, bringing in Colo on the Restoration Shaman, Valito on that Death Knight, and Zach on the Demon Hunter. It's a really durable setup. Once again, going to be looking for mana rifts. Are they going to be able to play the composition at the same level we saw Super Frogs just a little bit earlier? I'm going to imagine that they can. So M2KC, although with a good composition, could still be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, and a lot of eyes are going to be put on Zach here. He's going to need a big performance in this matchup to really secure them the win. We saw Snuts on the Demon Hunter being able to perform for his team earlier on when the Super Frogs fought off against M2KC. And now we're going to see similar strategies used. We're going to see Valito and Zach putting up a lot of pressure onto Rosita Jones. We're going to see crowd control over to Colo and Zach, and we're going to see Rob Cub potentially getting mana burnt out of mana before Colo really runs out of mana. So the win condition for Never Lucky is pretty clear. M2KC, they need to deflect, they need to have good cross crowd control, as we see a spear onto Colo and a spell onto Zach. Jamili looking for a polymorph onto Valito as well. Nice cross CC. Jamili's going to try to find one now onto Colo. He has an opportunity as that wind shear was kind of wasted onto Rosita Jones there. And now Zach in trouble, forced to use his reverse magic as well as the blur, actually. A little bit of an overlap there.
Yep, everything on the line for these two teams. Whatever team wins this series will be advancing to the spring finals. Keep that in mind. Both of them have been playing out through all 6 cups, putting everything they can into these tournaments. And there is just literally their hopes and dreams. This is what they want to play for, an opportunity to try to qualify for the grand finals later on this year, as well as try to make a big chunk of money at one of these tournaments. So we'll have to see how exactly it plays out. Never Lucky, still in a decent position. Zach hovering around 50% health. he hasn't really been going for too many mana rifts in this situation just yet. Rubcub does get gripped into an asphyxiate. Zach landing a mana rift. Rubcub's mana getting lower and lower. Colo still doing a good job, and we've kind of credited Colo on the Mistweaver Monk before. He was very aggressive with his mana, burning through it quite quickly, but in the last cup, he was able to hold on to that mana for a much longer time, and I think it's going to be really important for him in this match if he wants to hold on to that mana advantage that he is playing a little bit conservative, allowing Valido and Zach enough time to start building up some damage and get the mana rifts rolling onto Rubcub.
Yeah, and Zach and Colo, they need to take turns shutting down Rubcub on those drinks. You can see Rubcub again behind the pillar. He's trying to look for a drink, but that little archer right in front of him is keeping him in combat. And we got Valido with beautiful pet control, as well assisting his teammates in their quest to keep Rubcub around in combat. Now he's gonna gate to the other side, rooting up the pet behind the pillar. Rubcub looking for a restealth. Colo though dropping his totems behind the pillar, making sure that Rubcub stays in combat with that Earth Grab totem. And every single time Colo crosses the map like this, we need to see Jamili and Rosita Jones land the polymorphs and the fears like they have been doing now, and we're gonna see that paired up with big beefy chaos bolts as well. The only real way to stop this from happening is of course to have that pressure. Now Zach's turn to kind of goal keep for his team, make sure that Rubcub doesn't drink. Nice death grip into asphyxiate, into the mana rift. You're gonna tax Rubcub's mana a little bit more, and that pet as well is gonna get rooted up. Now Valido getting feared into Rubcub, a little bit unlucky there for the team of M2KC, but Rubcub does get a restuff there. I believe that definitely came missed. Now they are gonna find him though. No mana to be found for Rubcub, unfortunately.
This is just devastating for M2KC. They have a great composition here, but it's just difficult in this matchup, and they have lost to this composition all day long. Currently 0-6 against it, I believe, so definitely an uphill battle. Never Lucky looking good so far. There's lots on the line for both of these teams. Infernal gets dropped out by Rosita Jones. He's looking to get aggressive on Valido. Valido responds instantaneously with the anti-magic shell. That green circle around his character will provide him a lot of damage reduction. In fact, damage immunity to any spell damage, so very powerful tool that the Death Knight has available. Anti-magic zone, that purple shell as well, can make them very durable, but it wasn't traded out for too much. Jamili still has his Icy Veins rolling. I guess it was a Dark Soul from Rosita Jones. Doesn't want to be messing around. Colo in center field. He's got to be being a little bit scared here. We saw what happened to him yesterday through anti-magic zone when he played against Chanimal. Now Rosita Jones looking to take a page from Chanimal and make a swap over onto Colo, trying to get some damage rolling. Astral Shift trades out. Never Lucky survives. Rubcub, how is his mana? It's all about Rubcub's mana, and he was able to sit down for a drink. Not ideal for Never Lucky.
Yeah, and a couple of drinks like that is really going to set them ahead on the team of M2KC, so they really need to make sure that they are using all of their spells and coordinating who is stopping Rubcub on these drinks. Zach is also playing Rain from Above, a little page that he stole from Trill's book when they were playing this composition over at Method Orange, and it worked very, very effectively for him because it allows him to avoid a lot of the crowd control. A lot of the crowd control is, of course, going to be put over onto Zach, and that's going to allow him to get dispelled and then re-crowd controlled. But if he plays the Rain from Above, he can go up in the air after he gets dispelled and still dish out some damage. Now we do see the Frozen Orb dropped a lot of damage here, getting deflected by the Earthen Wall Totem as well. And you can see Colo's positioning is the same. He is running at Rubcub for the majority of the game. We see an Asphyxiate comboed with the Mana Rift. Not going to be timed enough, well enough there. And Rubcub now behind the pillar looking for a drink. Zach though immediately on top of him, making sure that he doesn't get it. Jamili taking a little bit of pressure. Should be fine though with that Frozen Orb and that Temporal Shield now active.
Yep, going to be completely fine. Temporal Shield should bounce him back up to full. Rubcub's going to be using the Thorns as well as the Iron Bark to deny some damage. Colo getting interrupted. Valido in center field. Rosita Jones setting up his team for success. Looking for a fear. Rubcub now caught into a Fell Eruption. Mana Rift going to be landing once again, and slowly but surely, Never Lucky is securing another one of their mana leads in this situation. Rubcub might have to try to sneak away for a drink. Anti-Magic Zone's going to be used by Valido to slow down some of this damage as Colo is just caught into crowd control. He's been playing in center field for most of this game, and it's just made him really susceptible to the crowd control Jamili and Rosita Jones have available. Potentially he wants to reposition to a pillar, but looking like he always wants to try to back up his team and be one of the players that can push in and try to deny Rubcub drinks.
Yeah, and Rob Cup again now is going to be crossing the map. He is potentially getting that re-stealth drink off. Valido is right on top of him though. I would have liked to see Rob Cup stay in stealth there and move back to the other side. That's what we see Chaz and some of the other druids do, and that really has net them a couple of mana drinks. And now he's not going to be able to find it. Nice deflection here from Rosita Jones, spamming out the Fierce, but there is a pet onto Rob Cup, keeping him in combat. He's not going to be able to find that re-stealth now. And in situations like this where Rob Cup is essentially wasting a lot of his time, I want to see more pressure onto Jamili. Whoever is chasing Rob Cup needs to they just need to have one person chasing him and the other person just applying pressure onto Jamili. That way you get a lot of damage out. You burn even more mana from Rob Cup, and that's really the goal here for Never Lucky. We do see the goal as well, charging towards Rob Cup, and Valido's actually playing with a lot of these proc-based trades to keep Rob Cup in combat with some of his damage over time effects as well. We've been seeing a lot of Death Knights do that to make sure that some of these druids don't get away as easily, and it's working out well for them.
Yeah, I think it's an intelligent choice as long as they can keep the diseases up onto Rob Cup. Every time that disease ticks, he can get one of those procs from the Azerite traits, and that will stop Rob Cup from drinking, as well as keep him in combat. So Never Lucky basically playing into the strategy. They just want to do everything they can to deny Rob Cup from getting out of combat, getting out of drinks. It's up to Jamili and Rosita Jones to make sure that they are buying enough time for Rob Cup, creating counter pressure and stalling out the game to that magic number around 40% dampening, where Valido's going to start becoming a really good target for them to potentially take down.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think Zach and Valido are dishing out enough pressure as we see a Spirit Link Totem get forced out. Preemptive Darkness there from Zach, overlapped actually with that Spirit Link Totem, and the Anti-Magic Zone and the Ascendance. Huge overlap here for Never Lucky, and that's going to put M2KC ahead. The thing is, Rob Cup, as long as he keeps his mana somewhat healthy to this point in the game where they can start getting out a lot of pressure, that's when he's going to get that hard reset that the Mage Lock Druid allows. And we're starting to reach that point. The only real defense now on Never Lucky is the personal cooldowns of the Demon Hunter, as well as that Anti-Magic Shell for Valido. So if they can get some cross CC here, they could potentially set up that big reset. And Rosita Jones, though, taking quite a bit of damage. No Unending Resolve available. He was used in the last exchange.
Yeah, definitely. Rosita Jones really vulnerable. Rob Cup with no Iron Bark. What is he going to do? Zach and Valido starting to get some pressure rolling. Rob Cup once again trying to run away. Innervate's going to be used. Can Colo purge it off? Getting into position. He wants to deny some of that free healing Rob Cup has available with that Innervate. Now Zach going to be using that rain from above, flying up in the sky, getting some damage rolling on Rosita Jones. That's going to be super effective against a high health target like Rosita Jones, as it does do percentage-based damage. Frozen Orb being dropped out by Jamili. He needs to try to get something rolling. Rosita Jones is in so much trouble, finally gaining away. Rob Cup with the Iron Bark, but I don't know if he has the healing. Rosita Jones in a lot of trouble. Colo potentially even throwing in some purges at this point of the game. Double Shadow Fury coming in. Rosita Jones getting low, gets interrupted. Rob Cup with the regrowth. Topping, or not topping him, stabilizing Rosita Jones just a little bit, but still, there is no pressure for M2KC.
Yeah, and Colo is actually pushing in now, dumping a lot of his mana for those purges. It's doing wonders for his team at 36% dampening. Jamili is going to deflect that with the Polymorph, but this could potentially be the end for Rosita Jones. No Iron Bark available, nothing available, and Valido is going to take him down. But it was... I want to say this is a good matchup and a good map for M2KC. Didn't look quite as effective for them, though.
I thought Orange were getting farmed by this composition running the Demon Hunter, Death Knight, Restoration Shaman.
Well, to be fair, they weren't facing...
playing. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. It's not just the compositions. Yeah. So Kitty Cat's trying to pull this out, not playing it to the same caliber of the Super Frogs, and not able to find victory in a matchup that is otherwise significantly one-sided.
Yeah, I think that it still seems like the right play, though, to be locking it in, even if you don't have it all the way at its maximum potential, because look at how hard this matchup has been for them, how hard it's been for them to beat this comp.
I feel bad for M2KC at this point. I mean, they have literally lost against this composition 7 times in a row today, and this is just it. Jamili and Rosita Jones, they have to try to find counter pressure in the matchup. At this point, it's just Valido, Zach, and Colo just steamrolling them. Rob Cup can't catch up. Rosita Jones just getting swarmed by a Demon Hunter and Death Knight. Jamili's trying to do something, but just not finding the damage that they need. And now Never Lucky, they're up 1-0. Keep in mind, the winner of the series is going to be advancing to the spring finals. The loser's just going to be going home.
This is, after everything does shape up the way that it does, this is hands down the most important series of the day, right? This is actually determining LAN. It is the most important right now, and Zico...
It's not true. The most important series decided the fate of your mustache.
Zico.
I don't know how that went.
Zico, when we do take a peek at the rest of this matchup, do you think that we are going to see these compositions all the way through?
I want to see, I mean, Never Lucky, M2KC have played this composition now twice on large maps and lost. I think, this is just one man's humble opinion, but I think it could be time to start baking up some pies. You have Rosita Jones, one of the best fire mages in the game. You have Jamili. We've been seeing him play nothing but fire the entire time. Rubcup didn't look too bad on his Resto Druid. Give it one shot. I feel like at this point, you tried it twice with the Mage Lock Druid. I don't think the map, if you go to Ashamains or Trollveron even, is going to make that big of a difference. I mean, you still have to win on small maps after that. So I feel like double Fire Mage it up. The double Fire Mage already beat Method Orange playing this exact same comp. So if you can play it to the same level, you can win, and at least you have main advantage on that point. At that point, you have two mains.
I think that's the thing that's really important about it. Obviously, when we do talk about a team like Easy Money, they were focused on that composition. But making that transition for these guys, it's only Rubcup who's going to be put in a difficult situation. He's put in a difficult situation pretty much every single tournament. So you have two people on mains. Now would be the time to try it.
Yep.
Because if they try it here and then they go down and we see Never Lucky on match point, well, you just go back to playing the same thing. The series feels the exact same way. Doom is imminent, but you go back to a composition that you've already had a couple of shots on. Never Lucky. Getting closer, though. Tolveron Arena. Colo may send Jamili packing, and he'll have a chance to get back in the next LAN.
Actually, Jamili will send Colo packing to the Spring Finals if he loses.
Good type of packing. The good type of packing.
It's definitely the good type.
Definitely is. Zico, if we don't see the double Fire Mage come out here, is there a time that we do see it? I feel like it gets worse throughout the matchup.
Well, I feel like you want to be picking it now rather than when your backs are against the wall. Trollveron Arena is a great map for it. I mean, it's a great map for any type of wizard comp. They have a lot of things available, but I think that's, if you look at comfort as well, I think that's the best choice, because that way you're going to have two mages on their mains. You're not going to have an alt Warlock compared to, having Chanimal on his Warlock, because that's essentially what we're comparing them to, right? Playing the same comp as Super Frogs, but you're having, an alt Resto Druid who's not going to be as good as someone who mains it like Cubsy, and you're going to have an alt Destro Warlocks. I mean, Rosita Jones is great at multi-classing, but it feels like the synergy that comp requires is also more than the double mage, and also Rosita Jones obviously not going to be as great as someone like Chanimal, whereas on his mage he can definitely be up there in that conversation. So I feel like it's a risky play and you should go for it. They don't go for it though. They are going to be going for that Mage Lock Druid once again, which, like we said, it's not a bad matchup. It didn't look too bad on Nagrand, but I'm not sold on it. It felt like Never Lucky. They didn't even necessarily play the DKDH super great, but they still had a good time in that match. So I'm not sure. They overlapped what? Spirit Link, Ascendance, Darkness, Anti-Magic Zone. I mean, they traded out everything at one point, and then at some point, when dampening was high enough, they just ran at Rosita Jones and spammed out that Purge, and that got them the win. So I feel like they can do the same thing here again.
I also do think now, when we look at this second game, we're taking a look at what the rest of the series is going to look like. I think we will see these compositions all the way through, and now, if you were going to make me make a prediction, I would say I'd probably say 3-0 in favor of Never Lucky, in favor of Colo, Valido, and Zach. We'll have to see if they are able to pull that off. Was your prediction 3-0 or 3-1?
Who made that 3-0 prediction before we went to commercial, I wonder?
Did you make the 3-0 prediction? Because I know we got to talk about it off camera a little bit, and you're saying you were pretty sure that you thought that they would win, even if it wasn't a 3-0, when we talked about it a little bit. And I think your logic for why we could maybe see a game go the way of Mew Mew Kitty Cats when we were talking about it made a lot of sense, but I think the 3-0 also does. We're going to see them hanging out now behind the pillar for a little bit before we do get this started. Rosita Jones going to be on that Dread Steed, charging on in.
Let's see if Mew Kitty Cats can clean it up here in this best of 5 qualification to the spring finals. They've been struggling with this composition not only the entire season, but the entire day. And it would be 3 losses in a row to the same comp if they lose to Never Lucky here and now.
So Rosita Jones immediately, look at his demonic circle. You can barely see it, but it's on the other pillar on the other side. So immediately, that's a pretty significant mistake. He's going to be stuck where he is for a decent amount of time. And I mean, sure, he can go to his gateway and gate away, but then he gates on top of where his portal positioning is. So it's not an ideal situation for him to be. He's going to have to drop his portal where he's standing right now, in my opinion, or he's going to, well, he could port away as well, but then his healer would have to also reposition. Rubcup now, though, going to be getting gripped into a mana rift right off the get-go. Rosita Jones looking for a Chaos Bolt, gets it off. Nice triple DR fear, actually. A little bit of crowd control there onto Colo and Zach. Jamili looking for the re-polymorph. Colo, though, is going to sit through it, and yeah, he is going to relay his demonic circle on top of that gateway. Now, the problem with that is that his gateway, or his portal, is always going to be close to a pillar as well, which just allows Colo and everybody to have a great positioning on the side of Never Lucky. Rosita Jones is going to need to make his way over to Rubcub, or potentially relay his demonic gateway now as well. Not a great situation to be in as a Warlock. He's going to have to drag the fight out a little bit.
For most of these wizards, it comes down to coordination and bursted damage. Overall pressure doesn't seem to be the name of the game, and M2KC may not just have the reps, the practice together to nail that coordination that is necessary when facing these compositions that something like the Super Frogs have. Rosita is just constantly under fire in midfield. If he demonic circles, it's not really that far away. I mean, you can then use the demonic gateway, but even that is in line of sight of death grip. So I'm not a big fan of the demonic circle placement of Rosita Jones. Now shifting it seemingly into the middle of nowhere. The strategy must be to just demonic circle into midfield and then burst somebody down. Nice nether ward on the Gladiator's Maledict there by Rosita, reflecting that back onto Colo, but still kind of the what you consider the basics of Warlock. I mean, Demonic Circle is not something that's been selected for some time on Destruction, because you typically want the double Mortal Coil with Havoc, but Chanimal has shown that it is necessary when facing these Death Knight melee cleaves to be able to escape to safety during high burst intensity. And the way that Rosita Jones is playing around the Demonic Circle, these melee cleaves can just do whatever they want.
Well, that's the thing, is when we saw Demonic Circle be really good was against the Windwalker Death Knight through a Tiger Eye Brew all in. So Windwalker Death Knight, they'd sit back, they'd build up Tiger Eye Brew, and then make a push. And it was really difficult for the Warlock to escape, whereas for this, it's less about the all-in one-shot. So I don't even know if I like Demonic Circle nearly as much as against the Windwalker Death Knight, especially now Rosita Jones without being able to get the Mortal Coils. It's difficult to really set up his damage. But I can't really blame him, because Jamili with Polymorph is going to be putting that Mortal Coil on Diminishing Return consistently in the match. Rubcub did manage to sneak away, recover some of his mana. Colo sitting at full mana as well. This is one of those matchups most likely going to require deep dampening. Rosita Jones at around 30% health right now does have the Unending Resolve, but I don't really see Belito and Zach having the damage to push him over.
Rubcub actually did get a whole bunch of mana there with that drink, so that's good for the M2 Kitty Cats. But I don't like the positioning of the fight in general for them. You don't really want Colo to be able to stay at a pillar like this and still be healing his teammates. That's essentially the main goal here. We see a bash into a polymorph. Rubcub is going to position himself further away from the fight. I like that, but I want to see Rosita Jones and Jamili drag the fight to the corner. If you look at where the starting room is, if you go to the left of that, in that corner, that's going to give them the most amount of open space to work with. Instead here, Colo is basically always going to be able to run around and dodge as much CC as possible while still running towards Rubcub. And we're going to see some all-in attempts onto Colo potentially here. It looks like the Mew Kitty Cats wants to go after him. There's a Shadow Fury onto him. The Shadow Bolt gets stopped though, and Zach getting a nice little mana rift onto Rubcub. Nice change of eyes at the end of that stun as well to make sure that Rubcub is slowed at the end of that stun as he is playing that Relentless talent. Now Rosita Jones looking for a fear and a polymorph. Nice cross CC, but Colo looking for Rubcub, trying to purge off that Innovate. Not going to be able to find it. A lot of good pet control from the leader though. He's making sure that Rubcub stays in the fight, and now Rubcub wants to make his way around that pillar, root up the pet, and look for a restyle.
All right, Rosita Jones under fire here as Jameli secured crowd control, but absolutely zero counter pressure. Likely going to be seeing that magic 40% dampening mark for M2KC to find victory, facing Never Lucky's Cleave composition. Colo's revenge. He spent the entire day basically praying that M2KC would be knocked down 2 series in a row, and he will be granted a second chance to qualify to the spring finals. They looked solid in game 1 and honestly are looking solid here in game number 2. This is the best map, the best composition option for M2KC, and they are starting to fall behind. This is trouble. Never Lucky will move to match point and take the best map away from them, and it's just looking so devastating for M2KC overall. Jamili trying to frost over the team, trying to double blink in, manages to get a polymorph on a Colo with that. Rosita's the one under fire though. Zach denies the drink. Rain from above, so Zach also taking the talent choice from Trill, adding in a bunch of ranged damage and can also avoid some attacks. Valido gets destroyed in midfield as well. Multiple Gliders Maledicts dispelled off. Spiritling Totem from Colo exchange, but for an ending resolve. And an easy trade on both sides as it's still anyone's match.
So they get the unending resolve there, which is nice, but again, a big overlap in terms of cooldowns. The Icebound Fortitude, the Anti-Magic Zone, the Spirit Link Totem. We see a nice double Shadow Fury here. This could be an opportunity where Robcup could get a drink. His team has decent amount of pressure. Valido going for that Dark Simulacrum. What did he snag? It looks like he's going to be sending his pet over to Robcup. Now Robcup, that's got to be a Shadow Meld restaff over there. He's on the other side. Now Zach and Valido looking to counter pressure, but Robcup has the Iron Bark. This should be a full reset on Robcup's mana bar for sure. Rosita Jones portaled with his demonic circle closer to Robcup. Robcup not gonna greed it too much there. He's gonna exit that drink a little bit early, and Valido not gonna be able to get his damage over time effects. Robcup sitting down for yet another drink. Now Zach is looking to backflip his way over there. He does get one tick, I believe, from that drink, but one quick mana rift combined with that imprisonment is gonna make sure that Robcup loses it right away when he gets back.
Zach's been looking good on the Demon Hunter so far, and if Never Lucky end up winning this matchup, but they are going to the spring finals, that's going to make all 4 teams from North America running this composition, at least in some capacity, and they've all used it in the tournament. Method Orange, Never Lucky, the Frogs, the Boys, all of them will have run it. M2KC definitely have a mountain to climb right now if they want to take down Never Lucky. So far, they are down 1 map in the series, but this composition on this map theoretically should win. Never Lucky has had good pressure on Rosita Jones. Jamili really has to try to get something done.
Another thing that's interesting about what you just said, even if M2KC were to win this and go to the spring finals, they're going to face Method Black, which is the pioneers of this composition. So it's not looking too fun for them in general this season. Just not going to be able to really do much, but the pressure should be mounting up for them. Robcup, if he can get that ghoul that's pounding away from him, he could potentially look to get a drink. He needs to get a big drink here. And the only way he can really do that is if Rosita Jones and Jamili get good pressure here in a situation like this. Now the Infernals as well have landed, Sid.
Darkness from Zach saves the day right as those Infernals have landed. Positioning from Colo with Ascendance should allow him to top the team shortly, although at 20% dampening appears to be struggling. Polymorph on Zach is going to allow Zach to actually recover for free. Mana surprisingly evening out. Perhaps M2KC can pull this together, but if it's a close match on their best map, what's it going to be on their worst map? I think a pretty heavy one-sided match for Never Lucky, and because they won the blind pick on the swing match in Game 5, they will be able to pick the territory, and it will always be those small maps that they go for. Robcup with nothing really left in the tank, trying to keep his team going. Zach could be exposed here. That Glider Safeguard is procced. Might be a Spiritling Totem. Huge damage from Jamili. Multiple Gliders Maledicts. That Earthen Wall Totem of Colo needs to be enough. Is it going to be? I-Beam from Zach, Metamorphosis activates. Now with the Anti-Magic Zone, they stabilize. Will they? That Anti-Magic Zone looking like it didn't do too much there for Zach. Very close call. but still alive. And alive is a lot better than that. Spirit Link Totem seemed a bit unnecessary. Now he's full polymorph. Zach on the run. Things are starting to unwind for Never Lucky.
Yeah, but look at M2KC. They may have ran out of time. Rubcub only 5% mana left at this point, but he's in a good position. Unfortunately, the skeletal ghouls are chasing him across the map as he looks to retreat behind the pillar. Rosita Jones gets gripped in. Rubcub still in combat, unable to sit down. Actually, now, if he recovers his mana, this is going to be huge, but I don't think he actually has the opportunity, unfortunately. Doesn't get any mana back. Colo's still sitting pretty at around 50%. Drops the Tremor Totem, gets the Fear out of the way. Full polymorph, though, onto Colo. Rubcub looking to deny some offense by using Barskin onto Rosita Jones. Zach forced to run out of line of sight once again. Now Colo caught with a bash. Icy Veins is used by Jamili. He's looking to get hyper aggressive on Colo. Can they take him down? Astral Shift is going to be enough to keep Colo alive. Now Zach and Valito looking to get some pressure rolling.
Now the Icy Veins threat might not be there to try and kill off Valito and Zach. They can push forward and try and close this match out. Rubcub's totally tapped on mana. Pressure on Zach. This could be it. M2KC, they have to win this. It's their best map. It's their best comp advantage. They're not going to get a better opportunity to take out Never Lucky than this. They cannot afford to lose, but they're almost completely tapped on mana. Fortunately, they're getting good pressure. Zach gets bursted. Second Chaos Bolt denied. Overlapped with the Metamorphosis immunity. I think Zach wanted to immune frame that Chaos Bolt, but a miscommunication. Now they lose some disruption, and Rosita will connect the Chaos Bolt straight towards Zach. Limited defense. Colo is grounding totem. Drops it, but doesn't hit too many effective spells. Not a Chaos Bolt or a Polymorph. Now he's exposed. He Windshears the Polymorph, but now even more disruption isn't available. Colo moves in for reverse magic potentially, but he's caught in bash. You can't reverse that. Still pressure on Rosita. Ironbark needs to be enough. Will it be as the case? Colo gets blasted. He moved into center field to gain advantage of reverse magic, but instead they attack him. Good punish from M2KC. Colo gets bursted. Vortex out of the anti-magic zone. He's on the run, but Infernals have landed. He can't afford to be in midfield any longer. He's easily going to fall. Wraps around the corner. Catches a Riptide.
Rubcub.
They easily gonna fall, but now Rosita in trouble. Colo survives and Rubcub's crowd controlled. Dampening is at critical mass, and Rosita Nether Wards for a couple of extra seconds. Rubcub connects to Swiftman. If he can get a Nourish off here, Rosita stabilizes, and look where Colo is. He's in the middle of the map. Either Colo or Rosita could go down at any moment.
Yeah, that's Astral Shift, though. Colo should be able to survive. Rubcub completely tapped on mana. Rosita Jones looking to get aggressive with the Dark Soul. Zach and Valito, they have to interrupt him. This is danger time for M2KC. What is Jamili going to do? Full polymorph onto Colo. Zach's getting low, but Rosita Jones is the one that's going to fall. And now, Never Lucky on match point, looking to send M2KC home.
Do we see much of a heartbeat right now from the Mew Mew Kitty Cats, Zico?
I don't think so. It's not looking great. I want to see either a small map and the Fire Mage Rogue, or I want to see a large map and the double Fire Mage. They've tried this 3 times in a row now. Are they really going to go for it one more time? I feel like it's not going to work out for them. They've already lost on the largest map in the pool. You don't really have a better advantage than that. And it just comes down to the synergy. You need to have really good crowd control. You need to have good pressure. And when you land that pressure, Rubcub can go for the drinks. They weren't able to find it. Colo as well, playing so offensive on this Restoration Shaman. It's really what his style has always been like, and it's good to see him back on his main here, staying in the middle of the map, dropping the Earthen Wall Totem, activating the Astral Shift just so he can stay offensive and keep that aggressive positioning for his team. And that's going to net them enough pressure to finally grip Rubcub in and Mana Rift that last bit of mana and take Rosita Jones down from his Warlock and to his Fire Mage, hopefully.
Hopefully, maybe, because I do think Zico brings up a really good point. When you look at this matchup, I think it's closer than some of the other things that we've seen from the Mew Mew Kitty Cats, and it was a good call to go for it, especially at least once in this series. Maybe in the second game you switch something up, and then the third game you go back to it. That logic makes a lot of sense. But now when you have these 2 data points in this series, even if you have seen signs of life, do you really think you're going to get a reverse sweep when LAN is on the line? Do you think you can win 3 games back-to-back on this composition? I don't think anybody in their right mind would say that that looks feasible right now. So what is the answer? We're going to give them a few minutes to figure it out. When we return, we may see Colo walking straight to LAN. For the entire season, and we are seeing the Mew Mew Kitty Cats get just destroyed, honestly, by a composition throughout the entire day. If they lose here, I guess that would be 9, 0-9, 0-9. That feels terrible. Like that just honestly, that feels terrible. And I think a curveball is definitely something that's needed. But luckily for me, I'm joined on the desk by some of the smartest, glowiest brains in World of Warcraft. We got Zico Subtees and Ben Rookie here to talk about what they think needs to happen as we head to Ashmane's Fall. What do you want to see?
You already know. I want to see Rosita Jones put on his...
Nope.
Not that. All right, well, Magelog Druid, Ashmane's Fall, still a great map for them. They could win a game with it. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it's a bad matchup, but I think they could be a little bit more comfortable, just playing double fire mage and baking up some pies. That's just me though.
Well, ultimately, I mean, if they are able to take this next game, I really don't think I want to see them play it again even. I just think it's one of those things where the matchup doesn't look like they're going to win it 3 times in a row. If they do win here, maybe they still do switch their composition. I really think there's a very real chance of that. And then also they would be doing it on the blind. Yeah, so the potential advantage to throw the curveball in the next game could be a heads-up play as you navigate through a series.
I mean, if Never Lucky loses this game, I guarantee you we're going Dalaran Sewers, some Blackrock hold, something really small, hook point, where this composition is going to have a major advantage over what M2KC is really running in this matchup so far. So M2KC, they might have to consider a different blind lock-in if they go to a small map, but they need to focus on this game because their tournament lives are on the line. They already lost in the Grand Arena. They lost on Tolvaron, and this map isn't better than Tolvaron, so a lot of work cut out for M2KC in this game.
I want to say, we had a question earlier in the day, which team would perform better at LAN between Never Lucky and M2KC, and it seemed like at the desk we were in accordance that Never Lucky would because of their comps, but I don't think we've seen Packrats or Zach at LAN. That's really important to take into consideration when I think literally every other player has been to at least one LAN in the past. So having 2 players on your roster, which guarantees at least one of them will be in every game with 0 experience on LAN.
All right, well, just to counter really quickly there, because I do agree, but do you remember the first LAN of last year?
All right.
Reformed showed up and they did not care at all. Typically that is something that we've seen, but a lot of the newer people who've come up in the World of Warcraft scene have just showed up to LAN, and for some reason they just have ice in their veins. I mean, Reformed is one of the...
Europe.
Especially from Europe. I actually do agree with that, because you look at who was one of the other players that you talk about with that. It's Acrolaws, but Acrolaws, I think you could look, though. I think Acro did really well.
Oh, I'm not saying Acro, but we've definitely seen teams struggle.
The previous year, some of his teammates, yeah. When you actually do look at Ratipai, I think Ratipai had one of the worst lands he could have had. Literally, the first seed gets taken down by the 12th, right? So I think that we have seen plenty of players show up to LAN and have those jitters that Subtees has mentioned, but in recent history, some of the teams have just showed up and looked great. Maybe we will see that from the young gun in Zach. Maybe we will see it from the likes of Packrat.
Very curious to see how they perform should they win this game here and qualify to the spring finals. M2KC are basically 0-8 for the day. They have to win 3 in a row against a composition that they have not been able to beat, despite playing a composition that we would effectively say is the perfect counter to cleave setups between that Frost Mage and Destruction Warlock. They just don't have the reps on the composition. The coordination is lacking a bit. They came close in the last game, but close is not good enough when we're talking about qualifications. Rubcup trying to take control of the ghoul around the corner so that he can then get to safety and try and drink, but Valido death grips Rubcup into the fight and right into a stun mana rift. Chains of Ice to hold him in it. Valido with good awareness there, realizing the win condition is burning Rubcup out of mana. Colo lockdown and crowd control. Jamili trying to fake cast Dark Simulacrum and then go for the Polymorph, secures that. Reverse Magic immediately breaks Colo out of it. Jamili gets a follow-up. Rosita likely to look for a fear here shortly. Not going to go for the fear. Instead, just focusing on ramping up those soul shards and looking for chaos bolts. What? I don't know what's going on with Rubcup's health.
Mana and health.
Well, his health more so than his mana.
Well, mana matters a lot too in this matchup.
What is he dying to? I feel like I've never seen a druid pressured like this by just the ghoul.
Yeah, well, the ghoul does a lot of damage.
Does it though?
Controlled, I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with some explanation. Maybe he's getting mana rifted and he's just not healing through it, trying to conserve as much mana as possible, but right now, I mean, maybe he's waiting for the mage food to heal him up if he can sneak away for a drink instead of using mana on rejuves to keep himself alive. But one thing's for sure, things are not looking good here for M2KC. Rubcup's mana getting low, hasn't been able to drink, now finally sneaks away, gets in stealth. Rosita Jones getting low, trades out the Unending Resolve for what I imagine is going to be full mana for Rubcub, and I don't know if that's a bad trade. I think that's fine at this point in the game.
It's not full. It's close, but it's not full.
It's so dampening, so I think he's fine.
We'll have to wait and see. Again, this is the second best map for M2KC in this series. And if they lose here, they're just gone. So at this point, they have to battle it out on 2 disadvantaged maps. And that being said, Neverlucky don't even need to play the same composition. Perhaps they've got a Wizard Cleave of their own that they could break out, and then suddenly M2KC can't deal with it. They are against the wall right now. 0-8 for the day. Qualifications on the line. Rubcub goes for a drink, but with limited defense on Rosita, Neverlucky can make a push while Rubcub looks to regenerate. Now Feared on his way back. Valito has been on point in this match in particular with the crowd control and support for the team and these Dark Simulacrums as well. We see Gliders Maledict get nether warded by Rosita Jones. Good reaction there. That's going to bounce back at Colo, deny the benefits. He's been on point with regards to the nether ward. Really, my only criticism of Rosita Jones is either just coordinating with Jamili for big burst windows or his Demonic Circle placement. I would almost much rather see him just drop Demonic Circle entirely and go for the Mortal Coils. Like you were pointing out, the reason they went for the Demonic Circle build was to deal with the Windwalker variant, the Windwalker all-in. This is not a Windwalker all-in, so Rosita could gain more benefit from having double Mortal Coil to set up for damage than the Demonic Circle that, in my opinion, he is not using to the best of his ability.
Well, Rubcub is positioned really far away, and once again, now M2KC, they're going to have a massive mana lead unless Zach was able to shut it down. We'll have to see. He was looking for a mana rift. Can he find one? Imprisonment on Rubcub will burn away a little bit of his mana. Now full fear on Rubcub. Nicely done there by Valito, stealing one of those fears from Rosita Jones. Rosita Jones and Jamili, they have to be careful. Dark Simulacrum, really powerful tool that the Death Knight has available. He can be stealing crowd control from Rosita Jones and Jamili, and if he lands that crowd control, that's the added damage and opportunity that Neverlucky really needs to potentially take Rosita Jones down.
All right, let's see what they can get done here. Mana's evening out. This is basically tournament qualification on the line for Mew Mew Kitty Cats. Colo's revenge here against Jamili. A grudge match between these rivals throughout the spring season. Who's going to take that 4th spot? Because only one of them can. Colo recovering with Valito back around the corner as Rubcub was trying to retreat away and regenerate. Zach denies it. Colo moving in for a sneaky hex, dispelled instantly by Rubcub, but now the fear cannot be dispelled off of Rosita with the fear. Rubcub, he's just getting rotted down so heavily. It's a surprising amount of extra damage added onto him between Valito and Zach's mana rifts, and this split pressure is really burning that mana bar even faster. Full polymorph secured, anti-magic zone. He gets feared out of it, although now wind sheared by Colo. Good disruption overall, and I will say to credit of Neverlucky, throughout this entire season, they are the most improved team overall. They came in as basically a bunch of misfits that didn't have a place, and they managed to make a team together and build themselves up through the tournament, and they're 1 game away from qualifying to the LAN, and with time in between now and that LAN, I'm curious to see what they can get done.
Yeah, definitely. Colo wants it more than anyone else. Rubcub was able to sneak away and get full mana. Not the position you want to be in as Neverlucky. They have to do a better job. Rubcub's been doing an excellent job, way better than on Tolvaron, to sneak away, avoid mana rifts, keep his mana up high. Colo, in the meantime, hasn't had that same luxury. His mana is slowly but surely dwindling away, but he might be able to hold on to it in this particular match. For the Restoration Druid, he is required to go sneak away and get consistent drinks. For the Restoration Shaman, the Mistweaver Monks, the Holy Paladin, sometimes they don't have to do that as much as the Restoration Druid. So Neverlucky, if they can hold on, stay stable, they might be able to still burn through some of Rubcub's mana.
Zach breaking Colo out of that polymorph chain. Rubcub's done a great job to maintain his mana deeper into dampening, most certainly setting his team up for victory. Perhaps they can break the slump. Can they put a point on the board and then put 2 more consecutively after that? Potentially, it would be better suited to see the Shadow Priest Rogue from them. I mean, we saw Change My Mind do work with that in the European region, and Mew Mew Kitty Cats have Jamili Shadow Priest, Roasty's Rogue. They could do the same if they need that as a composition moving forward. Zach still low on health. Not much defense here. They don't want to commit the darkness unless there's a powerful cooldown like Infernals or Icy Veins, but with Colo crowd control, they may need to. Colo actually uses the Glider's Medallion, and again, it's not typical that we see a Shaman use the Glider's Medallion by itself. you usually want to use that in conjunction with a Spirit Link totem or in conjunction with a grounding totem. So having used that Gliders Medallion effectively, not with anything combined with it, now means when he's crowd controlled later, he won't be able to access Spirit Link totem to survive.
Yep, Rubcub once again getting caught into a fear. Valito doing a good job with the Dark Simulacrum. 21% dampening at this point. Neverlucky up 2-0 in the series. They're on match point. If they end up winning this, if they can take Rosita Jones down, they will be securing their spot at the spring finals. M2KC backs against the wall. What are they going to do? Colo's almost completely out of mana. Jamili secures a full polymorph. Zach could be in a little bit of trouble. Beautiful vortex by Rubcub. Keeps Zach in place, but so much mobility the Demon Hunter has. He's able to escape once again out of line of sight of Rosita Jones, healing himself back up. Now Rubcub's mana still getting low. Has a little bit of an edge on Colo, but I think it's going to be fine. That was a beautiful sheep by Jamili, denying that rain from above from Zach. He flew up in the air, immediately grounded.
All right, Valito under fire here. Mew Mew Kitty Cats need to stay alive if they want to qualify. Colo's Spirit Link totems a bit preemptive. I mean, it's for the Icy Veins and the Infernals, but I'm not sure if it was really necessary. At least it's an even exchange, and those threats won't be available for some time until Spirit Link is back. But Colo's out of mana. His team's getting bursted. Dampening is ramping up. Now crowd controlled. This is the most momentum that we have seen from the Mew Mew Kitty Cats. Perhaps the comeback. Can they do it? They need to win 3 in a row. If they want to stay alive, they need to do it at least now. Zach's still low on health, holding on to that darkness. It would be beneficial to hold that so they can make a push with it, stay out in midfield and be safe and try and crush Rosita. Rubcub gets stunned up, gripped into the fight as they look to target him down a bit, trying to burn the remainder of his mana. Colo needs to be careful. He's bashed. Jamili may swap to him, although that didn't really work out, so perhaps Jamili will hold his damage for Valito deeper into dampening. Chaos Bolt connects onto Valito. Frozen Orb pins him down. Jamili and Rosita split up. Rubcub sneaks away. Perfect positioning from the Mew Mew Kitty Cats. They've got Neverlucky in checkmate at this point, and this is their best performance so far today.
Yeah, they're heating up, and there's definitely hope for them in this series still. Interrupt on the Colo. Can they take Zach or Valito down? Rosita Jones in a little bit of trouble. Has the unending resolve. Trades it out. Looking to get aggressive, but Zach, they're just looking to push through. Second Gladiator's Maledict. A third coming in from Colo. Rosita Jones not getting healed up. Rubcub getting feared once again. The game-winning fear from Valito. Beautifully done. Neverlucky going straight to the spring finals. Unfortunate for M2KC. They just didn't have an answer for this composition.
Oh, they definitely don't. Losing to it 9 times today alone. Back to back to back to back to back to back to back. And now Colo is going to make sure that Jamili doesn't make it to land. And also that ending, they're going to do it in style. What a beautiful way to round out the online play for the entire season.
Wow. It really looked like this was the game where M2KC are finally going to put a win on the board. And Rubcub, he's behind the pillar, you know, he has a good positioning, he's drinking, you know. Colo, Valito, and Zach all stacked up behind the pillar. They're in that checkmate positioning. Colo is they're running low on defensives. Then they go in for the push, and then we're going to see an interrupt on Rosita Jones on the fear. Rubcub coming back in, trying to stabilize Rosita Jones. He should have Iron Barked immediately when he came back here, honestly. A bit of a mistake on Rubcub's end, and then, of course, the fear, you're going to be getting Dark Simmed right there from Valito. Rubcub playing relentless as well, getting feared up himself. Unending Resolve is going to time out, and so is the Iron Bark, and so is the HP bar of Rosita Jones, and the dreams of M2KC of qualifying for this cup, for this LAN, sorry.
Yeah, this LAN, it's not going to happen. But when you look at this team, and Neverlucky, and it's fitting that these were the two teams that are going head-to-head. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but when you look at both of these rosters, I think throughout the year, they're just going to get so much better with more time to figure out where they need to focus. And Rosita Jones is such an incredible pickup to the Mew Mew Kitty Cats. I think that has given them such a good shot to move up on the standings throughout the entirety of the year. And keep in mind, all of these points are going to matter not only in our spring season, but also in the second season as well, where you can get that qualification into the finals. But it's going to be those teams above that gold bar, the top 4 teams from each region, who we will be seeing very shortly. Method Black, Wildcard Gaming, Change My Mind, ABC, Super Frogs, The Boys, Method Orange, Neverlucky. Congratulations. We will see you all at the LAN. And I guess very soon is maybe a little bit of an overstatement. It's going to be in May. May 11th and 12th is when the AWC will resume. That is when we're going to have all of these teams coming through to Ohio, to the studio that we're at right now, to compete on the stage, to try to figure out who the first person who's going to make that run to the finals is going to be. But don't worry, there's plenty of more action going on in that downtime. The MDI is going to be getting started very shortly. That's actually very shortly. The MDI is coming up. I know that Twitter is a buzz right now with all of the teams who are going to be competing. I'm going to make my prediction for the MDI. Rev winning the entire thing. Rev is an absolute madman. But we'll have to see what happens there. Guys, it's been a crazy 6 weeks. It's been a crazy 6 weeks. It's been a lot of fun. And before we go, I'm going to make everybody make their prediction for who wins LAN. Without knowing, obviously there are a lot of factors that we don't know. But somebody clip this, and we're going to go through and we're going to see if anybody was right. Zico, who do you think's winning LAN?
Wildcard Gaming.
Oh, your Afro's on the line, I was going to say.
Whoa.
This is for...
This is just a normal
bragging
prediction.
rights.
You don't have anything to put on the line. You have no mustache, no afro.
Yeah.
The benefits.
Got nothing, Sid.
The benefits.
Yeah, the one benefit.
Right. I'm already as low as I can go. It has benefits.
Wildcard Gaming is my prediction as it stands right now.
Okay, Sid, who do you think's going to be able to take it?
I feel like there's no way that Wildcard Gaming don't win after all the momentum that they're building. I think like if you're not betting for Wildcard Gaming, I'm not sure what you're betting for really. If you're
Method Black.
I'm betting for Super Frogs. So.
You think Super Frogs?
Yeah. What do you mean I think Super Frogs? Of course, I'm never going to count Chanimal and Snuts out in the LAN environment. Cubsy, Wealthy Man. That's a solid roster. They've been looking good. They're the number 1 point earning team. What do you mean?
Number 1 point earning
NA.
team in the world, in North America, and also
they don't compete against EU.
The LAN factor is something that's going to be very important. We're going to have plenty of time to argue about this in the downtime, but be sure to watch the MDI. That is going to be starting next Saturday at 11 a.m. EDT. I don't even know what that time zone is, but I know GMT, 3 p.m. GMT. Guys, what a fantastic 6 weeks it's been. Thank you all for watching the entire time. We really couldn't have this show without all of your support. Thank you to all the players for all the hard work that they put in and putting on a show for us every single time. And everybody in the back, thank you so much. It's incredible to have this family here in Columbus, Ohio. We cannot wait for LAN. We will see you there for the spring finals.